Hey everyone! Thanks for joining us for another session of our CISSP study group. I'm B-Dubs and I'm pumped to dive into today's material with you. Whether you're gearing up for the CISSP exam or you're just passionate about cybersecurity, you're in the right place. Your dedication to learning is awesome, and I can't wait to tackle these topics together. In our last session, we covered Domain 3, Objectives 3.3 and 3.4. If you missed it, no stress. I've got a playlist ready for you to catch up at your own pace. I'll drop that link in chat now. Today, we're continuing with Domain 3, focusing on Objectives 3.5 and 3.6. These are all about securing our architectures and leveraging cryptography to protect our data. So, why does this matter? Well, in today's world, our systems face constant threats: hackers exploiting vulnerabilities, bad actors intercepting communications. Knowing how to spot and fix those weak points and picking the right cryptographic tools is what makes us effective security pros. Here's the plan. First, we'll tackle Objective 3.5: assess and mitigate the vulnerabilities of security architectures, designs, and solution elements. We'll start with general vulnerabilities like single points of failure, then zoom into specific systems like mobile, cloud, and web apps. After that, we'll shift to Objective 3.6: select and determine cryptographic solutions. That's where we'll explore cryptography basics, encryption types, message integrity, digital signatures, PKI, key management, and SMIME for secure email. So let's jump right in with Objective 3.5. Let's cover some general vulnerabilities that can hit any system. These are the weak spots you'll need to spot and fix, no matter what architecture you're working with. Let's jump in. First up, we have single point of failure. This is when one component, like a server or a router, holds your whole system together, and if it crashes, everything goes down with it. Picture your company's main database server. It dies, and suddenly no one can access critical data. Chaos, right? The fix is redundancy. Think backup servers or failover systems ready to step in. It's like carrying a spare tire. You don't need it until you do, but it saves you when that flat hits. The trick is figuring out what's critical and making sure it's not a single thread holding everything up. Next time you're assessing a system, ask, what's the one thing that could tank us? And then plan for it. Moving on to bypass controls. These are built in ways to skip security, like that reset button on your router. Handy if you lock yourself out, but if an attacker gets their hands on it, they can wipe your settings and take over. Think of a smart lock with an emergency key. Great for you, but risky if someone steals it. To lock this down, we use physical security. Keep devices locked in rooms or cabinets. Add logging to track when bypasses happen, and segregation of duties so no one person can pull it off solo. Unlike sneaky backdoors, these are intentional features, so balance their usefulness with tight controls. Keep access locked and watched, and you're golden. Next, we have race conditions, or TOC/TOU, which is time of check to time of use. This is when a system checks something, like if a file is there, but an attacker changes it in that split second before the system uses it. Imagine grabbing a sale item. You check the price, but someone swaps the tag before you can pay. And now you're out extra cash. In computing, a program might check a file, but an attacker deletes it mid step, tricking the system into creating a new one they control. The fix? Tighten that gap with atomic operations. Do the check in action in one move, like snagging the item and paying in one swipe. Timing is everything here. Close that window and you shut out the trouble. Now, on to emanations. This is about the invisible leaks from your devices, like electromagnetic signals or even screen light. Ever hear of shoulder surfing? That's an emanation. Someone peeks at your screen, but it gets wilder. Attackers can use gear to grab signals from your keyboard and guess your passwords. It's like spy movie stuff, but it's real. To stop it, shield your gear. Think Faraday cages for high stakes setups, or just walls with no windows. Add white noise to scramble the signals, and set up control zones to keep snoopers away. If your device is leaking secrets, block those signals. Keep the bad guys guessing. Now, moving on to hardening techniques. This is about toughening your system so attackers bounce off. Think of it like locking down your house. Shut the windows, bolt the doors, add an alarm. In technology, it's disabling unused services, patching holes, and setting strong passwords. Start with the system's purpose. A web server doesn't need extra ports open. That's just more doors to pick. Use guides like the CIS benchmarks or the STIGs for DoD. They're your hardening playbook. Test it after, because a lockdown system that doesn't work is no win. It's proactive defense. Strip away the fluff, patch it up, and keep it lean but functional. Let's shift our focus to the vulnerabilities and mitigations for specific system types. And we'll kick things off with client and server based systems, the backbone of most IT setups. Clients are the devices we use every day, like laptops and phones, while servers are the heavy lifters, running applications and storing data. They're essential, but if we don't secure them, they're like an open house for attackers. So, what's the risk? Unpatched software is like leaving your windows wide open. Attackers exploit known flaws. Weak passwords? That's a flimsy lock anyone can pick. Misconfigurations like open ports? That's an unlocked backdoor. No encryption leaves data exposed, like mailing a postcard. And too much access is like handing out spare keys. Here's how we lock it down: patch regularly to shut those windows. Use multi factor authentication, or MFA, to bolt the door. Harden systems by closing unnecessary ports and encrypting everything. Think of it as a custom alarm system. Limit access with least privilege and monitor logs like a neighborhood watch. Every system is unique. Strip it to the essentials and secure it tight. It's your foundation. Don't let it crumble. Now let's shift to where the real treasure is stored: databases. So, database systems, they're the vaults holding your gold, customer data, financials, secrets, and so much more. They're critical, but an unsecured database is like leaving the vault with the door open. Attackers love these weak spots. SQL injection sneaks malicious code through inputs, like a fake key unlocking the safe. Weak credentials are an open invite, and unencrypted data is like cash hanging out in plain sight. Too many permissions means extra keys are floating around, and no backups, that's no spare if disaster hits. So here's how we can fix it: block SQL injection with parameterized queries, keep inputs out of the code, use MFA for strong locks, encrypt data at rest and data in transit, make it unreadable without the key, limit access with role based controls, back up regularly, and monitor for odd activity, like a security camera catching trouble early. A breach here can sink you. Think stolen data or fines. Lock that vault up tight and you're golden. Now let's talk about the locks themselves. Cryptographic systems. So, cryptographic systems are the locks and keys of digital security. They keep data confidential and authentic. But even the best lock fails if you don't use it right. So, what can go wrong? Weak algorithms like old DES are rusty locks. They're easy to break. Poor key management is like leaving the keys under the mat. Side channel attacks snoop on system vulnerabilities, like hearing a safe's clicks. Bad coding opens backdoors and misuse, like weak keys leaving the windows open. Here's how to fix it: use strong standards like AES 256, RSA, and ECC. Manage keys like a pro. Secure generation, storage in HSMs, regular rotation. Guard against side channels with tight code. Use vetted libraries and train your team. Remember Heartbleed? It was a coding flaw, not the algorithm, that let attackers in. Cryptography is your fortress, but only if it's solid. Get it right and you're untouchable. Next, let's tackle systems where a breach isn't just data loss, it's real world chaos. Moving on to industrial control systems, ICS. These are the unsung heroes running our power grids, water plants, and factories. A breach here isn't just stolen bits, it's lights out or worse. So, why are they so fragile? Legacy systems can't patch without crashing, like old cars with no upgrades. No segmentation lets attackers hop from office Wi Fi to controls. Default passwords are sticky note security, and insecure remote access is an open gate. Poor monitoring? You're blind until it's too late. So here's the defense: segment your networks with firewalls and keep your ICS isolated. Ditch defaults, add MFA where you can, and patch or quarantine old gear. Secure remote access with VPNs and monitor with ICS specific tools. ICS are critical but tricky. Lock them down with segmentation and vigilance, and you'll keep the world running. That's specific systems. Now let's move into distributed systems, the backbone of so much modern technology. These are the networks that keep cloud services, global applications, and even the internet itself humming, spreading workloads across multiple machines. They're powerful and resilient, but that complexity, it's a magnet for security risks. A distributed system is a team of computers working together towards one goal. Think serving websites, processing big data, or storing files across locations. They're built to scale and survive failures. But that means data is constantly hopping between nodes, and more nodes means more targets. Here's where the trouble sneaks in: man in the middle attacks, where the attacker intercepts data in transit, like tapping a phone line. Data breaches. One weak node can expose the whole system. DDoS attacks. They flood the network with junk traffic, and it's gridlock. Inconsistent security. If nodes don't match up on roles, then you have gaps that appear. Here's how we lock it down: encrypt everything. Use TLS to seal data tight. Mutual authentication, where nodes verify each other, like a secret handshake. DDoS defenses include rate limiting and filters that keep the floods out. Uniform policies are centralized rules that ensure no weak links, and you can add monitoring to catch trouble early. Distributed systems are game changers, but only if we secure the connections. Next, let's zoom into a cool example of this: grid computing. So let's explore grid computing. It's a turbocharged twist on distributed systems. If distributed systems are a team, grid computing is a global task force, pulling machines worldwide to tackle massive jobs. It's really fascinating, but the risks are just as big. Grid computing links computers, often across continents, to solve huge, resource heavy tasks. It's crowdsourced power for science, simulations, or data analysis. But here's the catch: data integrity issues. If one rogue node can taint the results, it's like a fake signal in the mix. And then resource hijacking. Attackers could steal power for their own schemes. There's control challenges. Securing a global grid is like herding cats. So here's how we can fix it: encrypt transfers. TLS keeps data safe between nodes. Then authenticate nodes. Mutual checks ensure trust. Validate your outputs. Cross check results to spot fakes. Monitor usage. Watch for odd activity and limit access with role based controls. Grid computing's potential is unreal. Think curing diseases or modeling climate shifts, but it's chaos without security. You have to lock it down, and then it's a powerhouse. Now let's talk about something sneaky: inference and aggregation risks. These aren't loud hacks. They're quiet threats where attackers piece together data to uncover secrets. It's less about breaking in and more about what they can figure out. Aggregation means pulling data from multiple sources, like a warehouse of information. And inference is deducing sensitive stuff from that information, like spotting a pregnancy from shopping habits. It's powerful for analytics, but it's risky if it leaks. Here's the danger: there's a single point of failure. Aggregated data is a jackpot, but if it gets breached, it's all gone. Inference threats. Patterns reveal what's hidden, like guessing health issues from claims data. Here's how we can stop it: if we limit access using role based access controls, only the right eyes can see everything. Encrypt key fields. Hide sensitive bits, even in the pile. Polyinstantiation shows tailored data by security clearance, like puzzle pieces. Monitor your queries and flag odd requests fast. Think of a retailer inferring personal details or a trader spotting a merger. It's subtle, but it can be very costly. Control access and mask the important information, and you keep the insights without the exposure. Now let's wrap up this section with the Internet of Things, the wild west of technology. Smart lights, cameras, even appliances talking to the internet. It's handy, but the security is often an afterthought. So let's sort it out. IoT is a web of connected devices collecting and sharing data. They're smart, but many are built for convenience and not for protection. Think billions of chatty gadgets with flimsy locks. So here's the trouble, we have weak passwords. Defaults like admin are wide open. No updates. Old flaws stick around. Unencrypted data. It's like shouting secrets. And then we have botnet risk. Hijacked devices turn into attack armies. So here's the lockdown plan. Change your defaults. Set strong passwords. Update the firmware. Patch or replace old gear. Encrypt your traffic. Use TLS to hush the chatter. Segment networks. Keep IoT separate from critical stuff. And then inventory your devices. Track whatever is plugged in. IoT is growing fast, but convenience cannot trump security. Secure the essentials, and you've got smart without the stupid. So now let's pivot into locking all of this down. All right, now microservices are the rock stars of modern applications. Picture your application as a team of specialists. One handles logins, another processes payments, each doing its thing perfectly. They talk through APIs, those handy little messengers, making your system flexible and scalable. But more pieces, that's more chances for trouble. So, what's the risk? Insecure APIs are like unlocked windows. Attackers can sneak in. Weak authentication can let other APIs slip by, pretending to be legitimate services. Data leaks can spill sensitive stuff. And patchy security across services is like locking some doors, but not the others. So here's how we can lock it down. API gateways act as bouncers, checking every request. Mutual TLS sets up secret handshakes between services, and only the trusted players get through. Service meshes keep security consistent across the board, and regular pen tests find cracks before the bad guys do. Oh, and watch that traffic. Catch the weirdness early. Microservices rock for agility, but they need tight security to shine. Up next, let's pack this party into containers with containerization. So, containerization, think of this as packing your application into a magic suitcase. It runs the same anywhere, your laptop, a server, the cloud. Containers are fast and light because they share the same host OS. But that shared space, it can be a blessing and a curse. So, what's the risk here? A breached container can rattle the host or its neighbors, like a rowdy roommate in a dorm. Public images might hide malware. Misconfigurations leave gaps. And orchestration tools like Kubernetes, hackers love them if they're misconfigured. Here's the fix, scan those images like you're checking luggage for contraband. Isolate containers with namespaces and C groups. Each gets its own bubble. Harden orchestration with strong authentication and network rules. Add runtime guards like AppArmor and monitor everything like a hawk. Containers are a game changer, but they need care to stay secure. Now, let's ditch the servers altogether and go serverless. It's time for serverless computing. Imagine ordering takeout. You get the food without cooking or cleaning. This is similar. Write your code and the cloud provider handles the servers, scaling all of it. It's slick and it scales like crazy. But security, that is still your job. What's the risk? Overly loose permissions are like handing out spare keys. Attackers can roam free. And then hard coded secrets, that's like a password on a post it note. DDoS can spike your bill with junk requests, and cold starts leave a tiny window for timing tricks. Here's how we can fix it. Least privilege locks permissions tight. Give access to only what's needed. Use secret managers, not code, for credentials. Set usage caps and monitor to stop threats. pre-warm functions to dodge cold starts, and use a web application firewall on API-driven ones for extra muscle. Serverless is a dream, but it's not hands-off. Secure it right and you're set. Next, let's shrink down to the tiny but mighty embedded systems. Embedded systems are the unsung ninjas of tech. These are the tiny brains in your car's dash, your smartwatch, and even your appliances, built to nail one job perfectly. But their simplicity is a security tightrope. The risks here include hard coded credentials that are like keys under the mat. They're too easy to find. And no updates means old vulnerabilities linger. Unencrypted data is an open book, and physical access is a sitting duck for tampering. Plus, they're too lean for heavy security tricks. So here's how we can fix it. Secure boot checks firmware at startup. Encrypt communications with TLS to keep it secret. Add tamper-proof seals for physical defense. And push updates where you can, and shut off unused features to slim the attack surface. Embedded systems are everywhere, but they need custom armor to stay stealthy. Now let's rev up the horsepower with high-performance computing. High-performance computing is the muscle cars of technology. These supercomputer clusters blast through huge jobs like weather models or drug research. That power is a thrill, but it's also a beacon for trouble. So what's the risk here? Shared access with weak credentials lets attackers sneak in. Data breaches spill sensitive secrets, and resource floods stall legitimate work. Complex setups hide sneaky flaws. And the insider risks, they're real with so many hands on deck. Here's how we can secure it. Role-based access control locks down access like a VIP list. Encrypt your data everywhere. Keep it under wraps. Monitor usage for odd spikes. Segment networks to box in the cluster. And audit often to catch slip-ups. HPC is a beast, but it needs a tight leash. Lock it down and it's unstoppable. Now let's cut closer to the action with edge computing. So edge computing, this is where data gets processed, right where it's born. Think your smartwatch crunching fitness stats or a factory sensor tracking production in real time. Instead of shipping every byte to a far-off cloud, edge computing keeps things local. It's lightning fast and cuts network traffic. Perfect for stuff like self-driving cars that can't wait a second to react. But here's the challenges. Spreading data across tons of devices is like guarding a dozen tiny outposts instead of one big castle. The risks include insecure devices. Cheap gadgets often ship with weak passwords or old software. Scattered management. Keeping track of updates across a fleet is a headache. With physical tampering, devices in the wild can get hacked hands-on. And then there's privacy snags. Local data needs tight controls to stay compliant. So how do we lock all of this down? Secure boot, where only trusted software runs, like a car that won't start without the right key. Centralized tools, they manage updates remotely, like a mission control for your devices. Encrypt it all. Seal data tight with AES 256. Audit often. Check for weak spots regularly. Trim features, like disable extras to shrink the attack surface. Edge computing is a speed demon, but it needs sharp security. Keep those outposts locked and you're golden. Next, let's step into the virtual world with virtualized systems. Think of virtualized systems like a high-tech apartment building. One physical server hosts a bunch of virtual machines, each acting like its own computer with its own operating system and applications. A hypervisor runs the show, splitting up resources like a building manager. It's smart and saves space, but one crack in the foundation can shake the whole building. So what's the risk here? VM escape, where a hacked VM could break out and hit the host. There's hypervisor weaknesses. An outdated hypervisor is like a shaky lock on the front door. And resource greed, where one VM hogs all the power, starving the rest. Bad images are sketchy VM templates that can sneak in malware. And then VM snooping, where poor isolation lets VMs spy on each other. Here's how we can fix it. We have to harden the hypervisor, patch it, and lock it tight with strong authentication. Isolate VMs. Use VLANs to keep them in their own rooms. Monitor for weird activity like resource spikes. Use trusted images. Only use vetted VM templates. Cap your resources. Set limits so no one hogs the lease. Virtualization is a space saver, but it's not a free ride. Secure that building and you're set. Up next, we're going mobile, so let's hit the road. All right, time for mobile systems, the gadgets we live by. Phones, tablets, smartwatches, they're all loaded with secrets, emails, bank applications, personal pictures, but they're always on the move and online, making them a juicy target. It's like carrying a treasure chest in your pocket. If it's not locked, someone's going to swipe your gold. So, what's the danger here? Theft or loss? Drop your phone and it's fair game without protection. Shady Wi Fi. Public networks are hackers' eavesdropping spots. You might have rogue applications where malware hides in downloads, stealing your data. Weak locks. Do you have no PIN or a lame one? It's wide open. And finally, outdated software. If you're skipping updates, you're leaving holes. Here's how we lock it down. Encrypt everything. Full disk encryption keeps your data safe if it falls in the wrong hands. Strong authentication. Use biometrics or MFA to add a steel gate. Then we have mobile device management tools, or MDM. They enforce rules like application bans or remote wipes. Vet your applications, stick to trusted stores, and check permissions. And use those VPNs, encrypt your traffic on sketchy networks. Mobile's a lifeline, but it's fragile. Layer those defenses. Technology plus smarts, and you'll keep the treasure safe. And speaking of mobile risks, we also have the OWASP Mobile Top 10 list. So let's spotlight this list, the ultimate cheat sheet for mobile application threats. OWASP, those security gurus, they compiled this list of the nastiest vulnerabilities attackers love to hit. It's like a most wanted list for mobile mischief. Know it and you're steps ahead. Now here's the rundown. We have M1, which is improper credential usage, weak passwords or hard-coded keys. That's leaving your spare key under the mat. M2, supply chain slip-ups. Dodgy libraries can hide backdoors. Vet them like a sketchy roommate. M3 is insecure authentication. Relaxed logins let the hackers in. M4 is input validation. No input checks? SQL injection is going to come knocking. Filter it like a spam call. M5 is insecure communications. Unencrypted data like texting your PIN in public. TLS locks it all down. M6 is privacy and data leakage. Leaking information is a no-go. Mask it like a secret identity. M7 is weak binaries. These easy-to-crack applications spill your secrets. Obfuscate it like a coded diary. M8 is security misconfigurations. Default settings are lazy. Harden them like a new lock set. M9 is insecure storage. Unencrypted data is a gift to thieves. Encrypt it and stay safe and not sorry. And finally, M10 is weak cryptography. Weak encryption is a paper wall. Use AES 256 and guard those keys. This list is your mobile security compass. Now let's tie this all together with some cryptography magic. We're going to hit the ground running with cloud computing. It's a cornerstone of modern IT and a big deal for CISSP Domain 3. You've all used it. Think Google Drive, Netflix, or Microsoft 365. It's scalable, cost-effective, and lets you access resources from anywhere. But here's the kicker. That convenience comes with some serious security challenges. So let's break it all down. What it is, why it's vulnerable, and how we lock it down. Cloud computing is like renting a space in a massive technology hub. Instead of owning servers or data centers, you lease computing power, storage, or applications from a cloud service provider like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform. They handle the hardware and the scaling, and you just pay for what you use. It's perfect for flexibility. Organizations from startups to enterprises love it. But while the provider manages the infrastructure, you're still on the hook for securing your piece of it. That's the shared responsibility model, and it's everything. Now, the cloud comes in a few different deployment models. Public is open to all and private is just for you. And hybrid is a blend of both. It's simple, right? Now here's where it gets dicey. The cloud's shared nature opens up risks. We have multi tenancy. Multiple users are on the same setup. If isolation fails, one breach could hit everyone. Then we have data breaches. The cloud is accessible from anywhere, which means misconfigurations or weak controls can expose your stuff. And insider threats might be rare, but a rogue CSP employee could cause trouble. So, how do we tackle all of this? Encrypt your data, data at rest, and data in transit. Lock it up tight. Use role based access controls and MFA for access control. Only the right people should be able to get in. Audit your configurations regularly. Monitor your logs and know your shared responsibility. Clarify what's yours versus what's the provider's. Cloud computing is a powerhouse, but it's not a free pass. Secure your end and you've got a fortress. Next, let's dig deeper into those models we just skimmed. So now that we've got the cloud basics down, let's zoom into the models. This is where you figure out what you're renting and who's responsible for what. It's like picking your lease terms. Each option shifts the security load differently. Let's break it into service and deployment models and keep it snappy. We have different service models, and this is what you're getting. Infrastructure as a service is the raw infrastructure, servers, storage, and networking. You secure the operating system, applications, and everything on top. Platform as a service is a platform for building your applications. You lock down your applications and your data. They manage the foundation. Software as a service is a full application ready to roll. You secure the user access and the data, and they handle everything on the back end. Now, there's some newer models. We have containers as a service, or CAAS. Think Docker in the cloud. You control the containers and secure their isolation. And then there's function as a service, FAAS. This is basically serverless computing. You run functions and secure the code and permissions. There's several deployment models, which is how it's set up. Public cloud is shared with everyone. It's cheaper, but you lean on the provider's security. Private cloud is yours alone. You have more control, but that means more responsibility. A community cloud is shared with a select group, like a co op. And hybrid cloud is the best of both. Secure the links between them. The shared responsibility shifts. Infrastructure as a service means you do more, and software as a service leans on the provider. And deployment models tweak who owns what. But the golden rule is that your data is always your job. This isn't just exam trivia, it's your roadmap for securing the cloud. Know the model and know your role. Now, what happens when things go wrong in the cloud? Let's talk forensics. Let's switch gears and see what happens when the cloud gets hit. That's where cloud forensics comes in. Think of it like CSI for cyberspace, collecting evidence after an incident. But in the cloud, it's a whole different beast compared to grabbing a physical server. So let's unpack why it's tough and how we handle it. Cloud forensics is about investigating breaches in cloud setups, grabbing logs, snapshots, whatever tells us the story of an attack. It's easy on paper, but the cloud's quirks make it a challenge. We have shared infrastructure, where multiple tenants are using one system. You can't just yank a server because it's not yours. You also don't have physical access. Virtual means you're begging the provider for data. You have data volatility, where VMs vanish fast. Evidence can slip away. It's a jurisdictional mess. Data that's global, good luck with legal hurdles. And there's limited control. With software as a service, you're at the provider's mercy for logs. So here's your playbook. Know your role. IaaS gives you logs. SaaS, you're asking nicely. Check that shared responsibility model and grab snapshots. VM images are your crime scene pictures. Get them quick. Use provider tools like AWS CloudTrail and Azure Monitor, your digital security cameras. Document everything. Track every step. Chain of custody matters. Plan ahead. Ask your provider about forensic support before the trouble even hits. It's detective work, but with a twist. Virtual, shared, and slippery. Master this, and you're ready for cloud chaos. Now let's pivot to another hot target: web applications. So, web applications are everywhere: online shopping, banking, social media. They're gold mines of sensitive data. But that makes them prime targets. Complex, internet facing, and full of inputs. There's plenty of ways for attackers to sneak in. Let's hit four big vulnerabilities, why they hurt, and how to stop them. First, with SQL injection, attackers slip nasty SQL into forms like a login form to trick your database. You can fix this with parameterized queries. Keep inputs out of the code. Next, there's cross site scripting. They inject scripts into pages, like a blog comment that steals cookies when you view it. It's credential theft waiting to happen. Stop it by validating input and escaping outputs. Block those scripts cold. Then, with cross site request forgery, or CSRF, it's tricking you into actions like clicking a link that moves money from your bank. It's sneaky forgery. Use anti CSRF tokens and check request origins. Verify that it's legitimate. And finally, if there's poor input validation, where there's no checks on your forms, attackers can shove in code and it's an open door. Whitelist your inputs, only accept what fits the mold. Web applications are attacker bait, but these fixes make them tough nuts to crack. Be proactive, secure them before they knock. Next, we're going to shift gears into cryptography. So let's dive into it. Cryptography is the secret sauce of digital security. This is exam objective 3.6. Select and determine cryptographic solutions. Every time you bank online, message someone, or lock your phone, cryptography is working behind the scenes. It's your invisible shield against hackers, snoops, and data disasters. So, what is it all about? Cryptography scrambles readable data, called plain text, into unreadable ciphertext, using a lot of math and keys. Picture locking a message in a box. Only the right key can open it. It's not just about hiding stuff, it's a multi tool delivering confidentiality, so only the right people can see it. Integrity: it hasn't been tampered with. Authenticity: it's from who it claims. Non repudiation: you can't deny sending it. And access control: only VIPs can get in. Keys are the stars here. They lock and unlock everything. If you mess up managing them, your shield is toast. We'll dig into that later, but for now, know this: cryptography comes in different flavors, each with its own tricks. So let's check them out. Now that we've got the why of cryptography, let's explore the how, the types. Think of these as tools in your security kit, each built for different jobs. First, there's symmetric cryptography. It's the speed demon, using one key to lock and unlock data, like a single key for a shared locker. You and your buddy both need to swap secrets. It's crazy fast, perfect for big jobs like encrypting drives or VPN traffic. But the challenge is sharing that key safely is tough, like passing it in a crowded room without someone else snagging it. Then we have asymmetric cryptography. This uses two keys, a public one to lock and a private one to unlock. Share your public key with the world. They can send you stuff that only you can open. It's like a mailbox. Anyone drops in a letter, but only you have the key. It's slower, but it nails key sharing and powers things like digital signatures. Now, we often mix these in hybrid cryptography for the best of both: secure key swaps with fast encryption. Think HTTPS on your browser. More on that later. For now, symmetric is your fast friend. Asymmetric is your clever fixer. Knowing when to use each is key. So let's dive deeper into the algorithms. It's time to pop the hood on cryptography and meet the algorithms that make it tick. We've got symmetric and asymmetric types. Now let's name names and see what they do. Starting with symmetric, the same key with big speed. We have AES, or the Advanced Encryption Standard. This is the champ with 128, 192, or 256-bit keys. It's a fortress. Bigger keys are tougher to crack. It secures drives, VPNs, Wi-Fi, you name it. DES, or the Data Encryption Standard, it's old school. It has a 56-bit key, and it's too weak now. You can crack it in hours or maybe even minutes. It's a relic and not a defender. Blowfish has flexible keys up to 448 bits. It's fast and lean and great for tight spots. The more bits, the more security. It's simple as that. Now, asymmetric, you have the public private key duo. RSA is the classic. It uses prime number magic to lock small stuff like keys or sign certificates, but it's slow for big data. ECC, or the elliptic curve cryptography, is newer and slicker. A 256-bit ECC key rivals a 3072-bit RSA one, perfect for phones and low-power gear. Diffie-Hellman is the key swapping wizard. It sets up secrets over open lines, like a public handshake only you understand. Now, these lean on wild math, puzzles attackers cannot solve fast. Symmetric is your bulk hauler, asymmetric is your precision tool. Now that we've got the tools in our kit, let's see how to keep our data honest with message integrity. Okay, encryption hides your data, but how do you know that it hasn't been messed with? That's message integrity. Proof your message arrives as it was sent. It's like a tamper proof seal in the digital world. The MVP here is hashing. A hash function takes your data, big or small, and spits out a fixed size digest, like a digital fingerprint. Change one bit, and the fingerprint is unrecognizable. SHA-256, with its 256-bit output, is a go-to. Now here's what you do. You send your data and its hash. The receiver hashes what they get. If it matches, integrity is locked in. Think downloading software. If you can match the site's hash, it's clean. But hashes don't prove the sender. That's where HMAC shines, which is hash-based message authentication code. It mixes in a security key that only key holders can make or check. It's your fingerprint plus a signature. Hashing spots tampering, and then HMAC ties it to you. Together, they're your data's bodyguards. Now let's take a look at digital signatures. We've locked down message integrity with hashing. So let's level up with digital signatures, the rock stars of cryptography. These bad boys prove your data is untouched and who sent it. Have you ever wondered how you can trust a software update or know an email is legit? That's digital signatures, powered by asymmetric magic. Here's how it works. You hash your message, which is your digital fingerprint. Then you encrypt that hash with your private key. Now that's your signature, like a tamper-proof seal with your name on it. You send both to the recipient. They decrypt the signature with your public key and hash the message themselves. If the hashes match, boom, it's from you and it's pristine. The hash ensures integrity and your private key proves it's you. And since only you've got that key, you can't back out. Non repudiation is in the bag. Now, this works with software updates. Your phone checks the signature to confirm it's from the real deal and not some shady imposter. Digital signatures are your trust anchors. Now, let's tie those keys to identities with certificates. Digital signatures are slick, but how do you know the public key's legit? Enter digital certificates and PKI. This is the trust backbone of cryptography. If you've seen that lock icon in your browser, you've used them. Let's break it down. A digital certificate is like a digital passport. It links your identity, like your name or company, to your public key. A certificate authority, or CA, issues it after verifying you. Think of them as a trusted notary. The CA signs it and bam, everyone knows your key is the real deal. But it's more than certificates. It's public key infrastructure, or PKI, which is the whole trust system. You've got CAs issuing certs, registration authorities checking IDs, repositories storing them, and revocation lists flagging the bad ones. It's a global trust network. With HTTPS, your browser checks a site's certificate. It sees the CA's signature, and it trusts it if the CA is preloaded. No trust, you get that warning page. Certificates and PKI are your crypto ID cards. Without them, it's chaos. Next, let's protect the keys that make it all work. This is Key Management 101. Think of keys like rare artifacts. You've got to create, guard, and ditch them right. Here's how it works. First is generate. You want to generate strong random keys. Use proper tools and not guesswork. Then you distribute them. You share them securely like a secret handoff. In storage, you lock them in hardware security modules, or HSMs, which are high tech safes. You have to rotate these, swap them out regularly. Fresh keys is fresh protection. For destruction, you wipe old ones clean, no comebacks. Recover, plan a backup, like splitting keys among trusted crew. Screw this up and it's over. A stolen key unlocks it all. A lost one locks you out. Use HSMs to automate generation. Rotate based on risk and plan for crypto shredding, destroying the key and killing the data. Key management is the glue holding cryptography together. Nail it, and your fortress stands tall. Now let's see it all in action with SMIME. SMIME is the secure, multi-purpose internet mail extensions. It's how you turn your email into a vault for sensitive stuff like contracts or secrets. No more plain text panic. Here's the process. You hash your email and encrypt the hash with your private key. That's your digital signature. Then you grab the recipient's public key from their certificate and you encrypt the whole thing. Only they can unlock it with their private key. They get it, verify your signature with your public key, and then decrypt it with their private key. It's done and it's secure and legitimate. Now, there's some requirements here. You both need certificates from a CA, like cryptography passports. Picture emailing a client a contract. Sign it with your private key, encrypt it with their public key. They verify and decrypt, knowing it's from you and untouched. It's a sealed, signed letter in a locked box. Confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity, all wrapped up together. SMIME is your email bodyguard. PKI signatures and encryption all in one. All right, now we've covered some serious ground today. Let's wrap it up with the big stuff you need to carry forward. For Objective 3.5, we tackled vulnerabilities that can hit any system, plus some juicy specifics. We covered single points of failures. Don't let one crash sink the entire ship. Add redundancy to stay afloat. Then we learned bypass controls are handy shortcuts, but lock them with physical security and logging. Race conditions are timing tricks that can get slammed shut with atomic moves. Emanations block those sneaky leaks with shield and noise. Hardening, strip the junk, patch it up, and keep it lean and mean. Then we hit specific systems. From client server to cloud, the playbook is the same. Patch fast, encrypt everything, limit access, and watch like a hawk. Whether it's SQL injection in databases or weak passwords in IoT, spot the weak spot and shut it down. For Objective 3.6, we cracked into cryptography, your digital locks and keys. Symmetric is fast and fierce, but key sharing is the catch here. Asymmetric is slower, but it nails key swaps and signatures. Hybrid blends both for speed and security. Hashing is your integrity checker, like a tamper-proof stamp. And digital signatures prove it's you and untouched, sealed with your private key. Certificates and PKI are trust anchors, like crypto ID badges. Key management is very important. You have to handle those keys like gold. Generate, store, rotate, and destroy. SMIME is your email's bodyguard, locking it tight. The bottom line here, find the cracks, patch them up, and use cryptography like a pro. You're not just building systems, you're crafting fortresses. Take that to the exam and crush it. So there you have it, vulnerabilities, fixes, and crypto magic, all in one shot. That covers our deep dive into exam objectives 3.5 and 3.6. But don't worry if you need to revisit any concepts. These recordings stay up on YouTube, and I add chapters after the live stream to help you find specific topics. Remember, mastering these concepts is just one milestone on your CISSP journey. You'll see these ideas pop up again as we explore other domains. The key is understanding how they apply in real-world scenarios, specifically from a management perspective. Stay curious and keep practicing. You're doing great. Are you ready to start the after party? I'll be moving the conversation to our Study GRC Discord server's CISSP voice channel. It's a fantastic place to ask questions, share insights, and connect with others on this journey with you. If you haven't joined the Discord community yet, Head over to cissp.britwhite.io to grab the link. And make sure you pick up your CISSP role when you join. It'll give you access to all of our dedicated study group channels. Our next session will be on Saturday, April 12th at 3 p.m. Central US time, where we'll continue exploring security architecture and engineering. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Discord.